At the ranch, the original trailer. And this picture of Brother John at the ranch, back in about 1976. This picture of Otto Brown in his 1967 Rambler at the PA airport. Grandma Brown at her home, 2734 Central Avenue. And this is a picture of John, Jack's boy, when he was up with three other boys on a trip up to the ranch. This is a picture of my Ford tractor, an 8N, 1951 8N. And this is myself aboard the aforementioned tractor. Picture of Otto Brown at Don Brown's. I don't know the occasion or the reason for the patch on the face. And here's the little old trailer as set up. The ranch about 1960 or 76 or 77. And this is Mum and Dulcie standing with my plane. FSD, a 1968 Cessna 150. There's a picture of Linda, time and place unknown. Picture of Otto Brown at the ranch. Another shot of the ranch with the old 2-ton 1962 Ford in the background. And tin sheds and wood pile in the foreground. And a picture of Gus and Brenda, obviously a few years back, time unknown. That's a picture of Ed Olson, taken at the ranch. And I don't know the year, not that many years back. You have Mary, Don Brown's wife. And this is a picture of our Cessna 150 up at Loon Lake. And this is Dulcie, Debbie, and Doug. It's a picture of Dad, Mum, and Dulcie. This picture of Elizabeth. I don't know who her friend is, and I believe that's Doug Brown in the background. This is myself with the Cessna 150. That's a picture of Mum, myself, and FSD. It's Jerry, Clifford Weberg, Ida Weberg, and the rest of their family. FSD again. Gus, Brenda, and Mary and Don. Mr. Don Brown himself. This is a picture of Enid, and Terry, and Laura, and their baby. It's Doug, and Jerry, and Ida Weberg, Clifford Weberg, and Debbie with Doug. Now this was a Flin Flon. That's myself and a Piper Arrow. It's a picture looking out over the ice at Churchill, Manitoba, with the tundra in the foreground. Another shot at Churchill. The next few shots are taken on a trip to Churchill, Manitoba. This picture of Dulcie and Gail in front of my 1974 Ford Half-Ton in Thunder Bay. Year would be 1977. This is Dulcie holding up a tree on the north shore of Lake Superior. My turn to hold up the tree. Dulcie and Gail in Thunder Bay. Myself and Gail in Thunder Bay. This is Jean at Banff, Alberta. And Linda at Banff. Myself, Jean and Linda in the mountains. The same crew at Athabasca Falls. And here we are at Mount Edith Cavell. A retreating picture of Donald and Greg Nelson at Waskesiu Narrows. This is the picture just before they retreated. That's myself for sure by a dam site. That's Pat and Linda at the ranch in the early 1960s. Here we have Linda and Gail and Carrie Taggart at the ranch in the wiener roast. And this is Mr. Pat, the Mighty Hunter. Gail and Linda at 2301. Sandra at 2301, Christmas time. There's Donald with his new 303 rifle. Jean and her doll. Jean and Linda in Prince Albert. Jean with her wabbit. Man, look at those curlers. Gail, Grandma Carr, Linda, and Jean. 2301. And here we have the whole family. We have Grandma Carr, Jean, and Linda. Myself at Christopher Lake. And a picture of Donald at the Merchant Grove farmhouse. Wintertime, 1962. The farmhouse and yard at Merchant Grove. The old farmhouse in the stark of winter. Another shot of the old farmhouse. Must have liked that wintry snow. Another one of the old farmhouse. And more of the old farmhouse. It looks like Pat and Jack and one of the Taggarts. There's Jean at the ranch gathering firewood. Here we have Harry Taggart himself. Here we have Mary and I believe Pat at one of the family gatherings at 2301. And here we have Jack's Carol and Enid and a couple of her family. My, aren't we pretty? That's Linda. And here it is coming out of the box, not going back into it. Here we have Jack's Maureen. And here we have Jack's Carol and my Sandra. And here we have Otto Brown busy down in his workshop and desk, playing with his train and keeping up his records. We have Jane and Carol and Sandra, Christmas time at 2301. Phyllis with the turkey ready to go to the table. Sorry. It's Linda and Jane behind the big bottle of pop, and probably Gail beside Linda. There they are, all five of them. Jane and Linda with their Kellogg's cutout. This is shot on the west coast of Vancouver Island, 1961. And Jane and Gail, and let's see, what they're standing on is the wreck of an old wooden sailing ship. Phyllis on Vancouver Island, west coast. The same. Sandra and Linda braving the swells. Linda's had enough, but the others are still out there. And this is a picture of our campsite on Long Beach, Vancouver Island. Donald and Craig on Sugar Mountain, just back up behind Vancouver. Reculic on Vancouver Island. I was as of 1961. Lawrence on the top of the log, and I don't know who beside him. Lawrence just outside of Vancouver. One of the lakes inland on Vancouver Island. Jane just about to have a drink from a mountain stream. And that's our new home in the mountains. Linda the mountain climber. To Lake Louise, looking into the crystal ball. There's Pat and Sharon and family and Peggy. Michael wasn't on the scene yet. And this is Pat and, would you believe, Michael. Christine and Michael in Calgary at the Sarcee Barracks. Hey, Christmas time at 2301. Friend in Tahiti. The location is Washington, USA. Jane and Linda in Kelowna. Expo Montreal, 1967. At Cape Cod. Linda on the beach at Cape Cod. And Jane on the beach at Cape Cod. Donald and Mary's wedding. More of the wedding in Toronto, the Derbyshire house. Donald and Mary's aunt. Jim Derbyshire at the time of Donald and Mary's wedding. Donald on his big day. Mary's parents, the Derbyshires. Mary saying, "Oh no." Mary's mother on the wedding day. Donald and his bodyguard. Donald in front of 250 Pine Tree Way in Port Credit. Jane and Linda in the backyard of Port Credit. Back of Pine Tree Way house. Linda's tortoise that they brought back from Cape Cod illegally. At Pine Tree Way, all spiffed up for a school dance. Christmas at Pine Tree Way. Donald, Jean, and Linda. Donald at Pine Tree Way Christmas time. And Jean Christmas time Pine Tree Way. And Linda Christmas time Pine Tree Way 1968. Myself at Cape Cod. And Jane and Linda at their tent on the beach at Cape Cod. Linda at Cape Cod. Guess who on the beach at Cape Cod? More of the same. Linda at the helm of Shadow 3. A little longer shot of Linda. Deserting the ship. Still deserting the ship. This is at the Thousand Islands on the east end of Lake Ontario. Orville and Jean on the back end of my sailboat, the Thousand Islands. Myself in the white shorts, gassing with the boys in the Thousand Islands. Captain Bligh himself. There he is again. Taking it easy after a tough day's sailing. Donald and Terry Gamble, the morning after we'd moved the boat from Toronto down to the Thousand Islands. A shot in the Thousand Islands. Jean and one of the many just after her accident in Toronto. Yeah. Jean and Donald and Linda. Jean again. And my den in Toronto with the polar bear rug in the background. Linda and the bear. Donald in his prime. Back at the table. And here we have Jane in the rumpus room, Pine Tree Way, Christmas time. Linda. And me in front of the polar bear carpet. And here we are, Jane with her new Christmas ski boots, back in the days when she was downhilling. Demure Linda in front of the Christmas tree. And the fireplace. Jane in the fire. Donald, Jane, Linda, and Curly. And here we have Orville's cabin at Lake Clear. The Queen Elizabeth at its last docking place. Not too long after this picture was taken, it burned to the waterline. Jane and Linda at Cape Cod. Springtime at the ranch, the creek washing out the road. The Myself and Dudley Ford on the job in Alberta. And here we are, Mr. Sasquatch, early in the morning with Jimmy. Mr. Jim. With Donald in the background. Of Mary. And Kathy. Oh, sweet 17. Very scene at minus 50 below. Brian and Ben Vermont. Brian and Ben and Dulcie. Mary. And Sanders. We have Jessica, Sharon, Elizabeth, and Joanna. Dulcie at Loon Lake. We have Sandra, Linda, Kathy, Mary, and Dulcie at Loon Lake. Sandra by her fireplace. Kathy admiring her lute. And Elizabeth in the foreground. We have Sandra. What a hairdo. Different. Again. Elsie and Linda. Sharon with Dulcie in the background. The place. Dulcie and Regina. And myself in Regina. But we're in Regina. And here we have Clifford C.E. Weberg from Canwood at Donald's house. Guess what? Jimmy's 1 year old. Dulcie and her friend Hazel from the Flin Flon area. Still hasn't blown that candle out. Out on the North Saskatchewan with the 18-foot freighter. Myself and Hazel Barrel, Dulcie's friend. Even the North Saskatchewan produces. That's a whitefish I'm holding there. Dulcie's mother and Ed Othen. An aerial view of Donald and Mary's farm. Dulcie and her mother and Ed. Aunt Elsie on the left, Dad and Mum under the canopy, the old trailer at the ranch. Sisters too, Mum and Aunt Elsie. Brown enjoying the ranch. We have Aunt Elma on the left, Mum in the center, and Aunt Elsie on the right. A shot of Emma Lake from the air, Nice's Beach. Grandma and Grandpa Brown's cottage is between the two slanting docks there. Left to right, myself, Jimmy, Dad, Mom, and Donald. Whoops, Mom disappeared. This is Betty with her newest edition. About Donald. Dulcie and Donald's boat out in Waskesiu. Boat at Waskesiu. Even Jimmy enjoys the boat. Little Sharon does too.